Hello, and welcome to No Such Thing as a Bad Movie podcast. I'm April Atmansky, and I'm here today with...
Justin DeClue.
And Colin Cunningham.
And this week, we switched gears a little bit. Switch gears. Get it, guys?
Because we watched No Deposit.
Wait, no.
It was actually a joke about Maximum Overdrive.
No, I got it. That was a joke. It was a double joke, guys.
Oh, wait.
Right,
that was a reverse joke.
It's not funny.
It's a reverse joke.
Wait.
Reverse? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We'll get to Maximum Overdrive. So the first movie we watched this week was No Deposit, which is a movie from 2015, I believe.
I was shocked at that, by the way.
Yes, by local legend Frank D'Angelo.
Local Canadian legend, specifically in Toronto. Frank D'Angelo is a business mogul. He has a line of energy drinks that was famous for having the catchphrase being, what's the name of the guy that, like, at the Olympic runner who
It was Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson.
Notorious cheater. He got caught with steroids.
And the tagline was Cheetah energy drinks, and he's like, I love to cheetah all the time.
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
the commercial.
That was bad.
And Frank D'Angelo also owns a restaurant called the Forget About It Supper Club.
Yeah.
He has an infomercial every week on Rogers TV called Being Frank.
It's like his own talk show.
Yeah,
or
where he
like
just
that.
basically shills his movies and his albums. He sings so much music.
He's a man of many talents, and I don't feel like he's as kind of well known in the, kind of bad movie atmosphere.
Well, the Flophouse kind of made him a little bit infamous, and that was
Yeah.
actually because of someone that I know handed the Flophouse gang a copy of
right.
No Deposit. Yeah, Dan Berube gave it to him. The man who also started the famous Ding Dong Gate from Castle Freak.
That's
Oh
right.
my God.
But like Frank D'Angelo is so weird in that he is one of these vanity project filmmakers.
Ego
Yeah,
projects.
like kind of like Neil Breen or Tommy
Yeah,
Wiseau.
everything is self-funded, and it's so strange because he acts like this like New York gangster, but he is in
From
He's
Toronto.
born in
Toronto.
Toronto.
Yeah.
So it's like
very Canadian.
And all his films are shot around like Scarborough and like Hamilton, which are on the outskirts of Toronto. But they always try to pass off as New York, and there'll be like stock footage. and
This
stuff like
opens
that.
with tons of stock footage of
Yeah.
flyovers of New York,
Yeah.
and then it immediately cuts to him driving in his car in Scarborough.
So No Deposit is about Michael Pare, the star of the Walter Hill classic Streets of Fire.
Okay, now first of all, this cast is padded. It's
Yes.
like the
Stacked.
names. You're just watching the
Stacked,
opening
you mean,
credits.
not padded. The movie is
Oh,
padded.
sorry, the
cast
right.
is stacked.
That's what I meant.
And you have people like Michael Pare, who is on the outs with his wife, who kicks him out of the home.
This is in real life, not in the movie.
No, in the movie. And you have people like Art Hindle, star of movies like Black Christmas and the Invasion of the Body Snatchers remake, who's his brother, whose nagging wife forces to kick Michael Pare out.
The women in this movie.
Every woman in this film is terrible and is shrewish
Gross.
and hates men.
Yeah.
But Michael Pare finds friendship at the local dive bar that's run by Paul Sorvino, and he meets his besties, Michael Madsen and Daniel Baldwin.
Yeah.
And which incite him in the same day into a life of crime and to go rob a bank. Now, I've just summed up 65 minutes of the 75-minute movie.
It's not even an hour and a half.
There's a lot of padding in this movie, and starting right from the
So
get-go.
much padding. Well, I want to do right from the get-go what my favorite thing of this film, as we do on this podcast.
Okay, and I have to go.
My favorite
I'll go
thing
last. I'll go
is
last.
the greatest man on earth, Frank
Frank
D'Angelo.
D'Angelo.
Yeah.
That's
This
right.
movie, like all of his movies and his life, is like celebrations of Frank D'Angelo.
And how amazing he is. He donates to charity. Everybody loves him. He'd sacrifice himself to like save a bank.
He's
He will
rich.
rip the gun out of a cop's hands just so he can take the shot himself.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
kills multiple bad guys in this movie.
So Frank D'Angelo is barely in this film.
There's a whole scene at the beginning.
Yeah.
So before the opening titles even come up and before the plot has sort of started, the movie's already probably 10, 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
We get an extended scene of him at his office with
Talking about how amazing he is.
with his money managers talking about
You're donating to too many charities.
So this is his office in real life. He plays a character named
Frank
no,
DeCangelo?
isn't it like? I think it's like Ricky or something like that.
I
Yeah.
can't remember.
But he just shot at his own Frank D'Angelo's own office because there's like posters of like his energy drink on the wall.
Frank D'Angelo is also associated with Arnold Palmer and those
Ooh.
brands as well. Which
I love Arnold Palmer's.
Yeah, I do too. But just remember, Frank D'Angelo was also accused of sexual assault and it was a big deal, and he was.
I think he was acquitted.
He was acquitted, but the judge at the hearing said, I know you're guilty, but we don't have the evidence to prove it.
Yeah, so
just let you know that Frank D'Angelo, he's involved in shady dealing.
shady business.
I thought that he was like a member of like the Toronto Mafia.
Toronto.
Is there a Toronto Mafia?
I'm sure there is. Yeah.
First of all,
Listen.
he's not from Toronto. It's like his office is clearly
in New York.
No, it's
It's
stock
Brooklyn.
footage.
And first of all, Frank D'Angelo is the greatest man on the planet. I mean, why would he continually make movies where he says that?
Criminals do not donate to charities.
Yeah, exactly.
That's-
You know what I
Criminals
mean?
don't go, I got lots of money. I'll help you do whatever you need.
Pay off his mortgage.
Pay off his mortgage.
So, well, it's pretty funny. So we get the intro, and there's a stock footage shot of like this huge glass tower in New York, and it has his name on the side of the building. And then we cut to the interior of him showing up at the reception desk, and the reception desk is like quite a step down. It's clearly just like a warehouse in Scarborough somewhere.
It's like a dentist office. It's not quite that.
Not
You
even
said
no
like a
dentist office
It'd
are
be
nice.
slick. Yeah, it'd be nice.
It's like a low rent graphic.
This is like a dumpy
designer's
warehouse,
firm.
and it just has pictures on the wall of him in hockey equipment.
Listen, he doesn't want his fans to find him, so they're on the
true,
outskirts.
yeah.
He's like Drake. You ever hear the story that Drake is like his offices are like in a cookie factory, or used to be
Really?
a cookie, so it always smells like cookies when you go to Drake's offices.
Hey, I know where there's a cookie factory on the west end of
Ooh,
Toronto.
then maybe Drake is there.
There's one at Young and St. Clair. It's the Keebler.
That neighborhood does smell like cookies.
Yeah.
So, what was your favorite part, April?
Oh my God, so many things. But
You can't pick.
oh, I can't pick.
I know you're gonna say Frank D'Angelo. He's your favorite.
I know. Well,
He's an
okay.
I'm a
angel.
good man.
He's an angel.
Not only that, like he casts other people in this movie that just make himself look good.
Okay, so we had a theory that like everyone in this film,
Mm-hmm.
all the major stars, look awful.
Yes, and they
Well,
are.
yeah.
Okay, I don't want to say like famous movie stars.
Well, okay.
Oh, Michael
well,
Madsen.
here's something that we have
Yeah,
to talk
yeah,
about.
exactly.
How the hell does Frank D'Angelo get these actors?
So the story goes, he shoots these films in 2 to 4 days. The sets are very well catered because he owns a restaurant, and he pays all of the actors in cash in a briefcase.
Yeah.
So they do their work, and when they leave, they get paid. And supposedly the actors just love working on his sets. So you get
Yeah.
people like James Caan,
They're in and
Eric
out.
Roberts.
who's in Sicilian Vampire.
That's
who,
right.
in an interview,
he
said
said-
that I only did the job because I just got out of a divorce and he paid in cash.
It's a professional. I think he like owns
Yeah.
all the equipment. He has like a red camera and like all the lighting
Yeah, I mean
equipment.
that's another thing is these movies technically look very good. They're-
Well, okay. Let's rewind.
They're not- they're
in
not-
that they're all like in focus and
Not always, but the equipment that was used is good.
it's
It's
yes,
li-
It's competent.
it's competent.
It's lit.
Yeah.
Good cameras.
Everyone is in color.
No one is in black and white. You can tell that he shoots every scene with like 3 cameras. So
Yeah.
if there's 2 actors, it'll be on them, and then there'll be
Yeah.
a wide of both
It's
of them.
probably efficiently
Because
shot.
This is essentially a John Cassavetes film
Yeah.
because like so much improv.
Oh, the improv.
Yeah.
You know, these stats. So this is something
Yeah.
that we noticed during the movie. It's like, you ever watch actors just floundering? You know what I mean? It's like clearly, it's like there's no script here, but
Yeah.
they're trying to improv, and it's like nothing is clicking, and
Yeah.
there's nothing's gelling.
They have an idea of what the scene is supposed to be, but they're just yammering on.
Yeah.
And it's like Frank was like, just keep going.
Just keep
Like, we
going,
need to
keep going.
fill 3 minutes.
This movie is so padded. The runtime is, what is it, an hour and 15 minutes?
Yeah,
it's
and
pretty short.
just the first scene, okay, so Michael Pare is at
Yeah,
the office
Eddie
with
himself.
Eric
Oh, yeah.
with Eric Roberts, and his house is going to be foreclosed, and for some reason, Eric Roberts calls Frank D'Angelo, and he's
I think that's a completely separate thing. I
No,
thought it was
no,
tied into
it was-
to Michael Pare's.
Well-
He was telling him that
he was the CEO of something, right?
yeah, and he said, "Oh, we have a delivery for like $8 million."
Yes,
That's right. You need to come in.
And you're thinking, okay, this has something to do with Michael Pare.
It doesn't.
has-
It doesn't.
no,
Okay.
it's like a
Nothing to
whole
do.
crash situation.
Right. What I was saying is, so he gets this call in bed, and his wife is like, "Answer the phone. It's 5:30 in the morning." And he's like, "Who'd be calling me at 5:30?"
And Frank-
this scene goes on so long.
and then she's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna answer it." Eric Roberts is like, I guess I'll call again. Ring, ring, ring. Answer the phone. All right, I'm answering the phone. And then he answered, well, who is it? Who is
Oh
it?
my God.
This goes on for like 10 minutes.
Well, Frank D'Angelo just wanted to prove how strong he is because, like many great men, he's wearing 100 pounds of jewelry
Just
in
like
sleep.
silver bracelets,
necklaces
rings.
and rings and
Yeah.
just jewelry.
He looks like a
Sparkling.
gimmick wrestler, like the Diamond King or
It's
something
so
like that.
funny. And this scene, I don't even think he opens his eyes. He's just sort of on the phone talking, and the scene, and you're
Frank
just like,
D'Angelo sleeps with his eyes open,
Yeah.
so he can always be aware of what's
And then when
going
he's
on around
open,
him.
when he's awake, his eyes are closed.
it's amazing. And this scene goes on so long. This scene, I think, is longer than the actual plot proper. Like,
Well,
the,
it's not
the
there's
bank
no,
robbery.
There's no plot, right? It just kind of stuff happens. Wait, sorry, April. What was your favorite part of the movie?
I
We
don't
got
know.
off track.
Think hard.
Well, okay, no, it is the competency of the technical aspects.
Wow, that's a low bar.
They got
Everything is in focus.
a red camera, I hear, from Colin. That's what he told me.
I think so. I think that was in the James Caan article. He said, like,
that they shot with a
well,
red camera.
they interviewed. They talked about Frankie D'Angelo. They said,
Yeah.
"Oh, he has like a red cam and all this sort of stuff, and everything's very professional and efficient,
and it
blah,
moves
blah, blah."
quickly.
Well, I was gonna say, like, if they are shooting this in a day and a half, they obviously have to do things quickly. So that also means they have to have a crew that is like, okay, let's get this done. You
So
know,
you're just like very impressed by the efficiency of the
yes.
crew.
The what is it? Like the
Shot in 2 days. I could have sworn it was
least
shot in
amount
5
of
days.
effort. You know,
Yeah.
they just barely.
I've been on film sets and commercial sets and music video sets, and yes, there is not much movie here. But if they really did shoot this in a couple days, I am actually really
yeah,
impressed.
it's pretty impressive. But they
There's
obviously
there's sound.
obviously there's hey, the sound. I have
It's
to
not
say,
all overdubbed. A lot of it is.
I have
but-
to say, it's like, there are no major issues like sound issues or glitches or shitty effects or anything like
Yeah.
that. Everything is just.
Whoa, you didn't mention that news broadcast that happens.
Oh boy.
What about
Yeah,
it?
that's some shitty news graphics on screen.
But it was
whatever.
all in focus.
yeah,
It's fine. Everything is in color.
I give it 4 stars, all in focus.
So they, again, talking about going back to the padding, they have this, what is it, like SNN or something? The
Yeah.
fake CNN with the crawl.
Oh my God.
And they have this boring guy interviewing this incredibly boring woman. Another old woman. There's a lot of elderly people in this movie. Everyone in this movie is older than Frank D'Angelo.
Of course,
Everyone.
because he's the young hot lead.
Yeah, that's why you want to like stand beside somebody shorter than you, so you're taller at all times.
Which comes will play back into our next movie with Emilio Estevez.
Exactly, yes. But he interviews this woman like 3 times.
Well, we have to talk about the plot. So basically, Michael
I
Paré.
thought I said the whole plot already.
Did you really?
Yeah, Michael Paré is on the rocks. He robs a bank.
Yeah, Michael Paré, Michael Madsen.
Daniel Baldwin.
Yeah, so yeah,
The lesser Baldwin.
this could be like real life as well. So they're all on the rocks, and they have.
That's only shot in 2 days.
No.
Frank D'Angelo just set up the scenario, and he's like, "We'll be following you with cameras."
Michael
and you
Madsen-
just do it for real.
Guerrilla
Michael Madsen,
filmmaking.
Daniel Baldwin, and Michael Paré are on the rocks. They need money badly, and they have to do something that they'll regret in order to make ends meet.
And Michael Madsen's
then,
like, Michael Paré, come join us, come join us. And you know, when you join any kind of gang, what happens, Colin?
He joins their gang, and then we get a montage of Michael Paré's head being shaved, and then
He
somebody
gets a
Poorly.
tattoo.
a huge tattoo on the side of his neck.
And
that
this
gets-
is all at the bar they're at.
All in the same day.
yeah.
So
and-
obviously they couldn't get another location
Okay,
or
now,
whatever.
I have to say, it's like Michael Paré has an amazing head of hair before the shaving scene.
It's okay.
It's,
No, it's
like,
like-
bald guy, like gel your hair to make it look like it's all
Oh, it's
hair.
all like floppy, whatever.
I think it was
Nice.
real hair.
It looks
Yeah,
like
it was his real hair.
It looks like a big thick head of hair,
It
and
does
then
not look like a thick head of hair.
not after they shave it.
It's fitting.
After they shave it, he looks like he has like the mange or something like that.
That's what's so weird
Like,
though.
yeah,
Yes, it's all patchy and weird.
You would think that they would like cue ball
properly
him.
shave his head.
They would make him a skinhead because they are actually anti-Jewish people. Because there's this whole like element to the bank robbery of we're sticking it to the Jewish people
because
who
we're
are
taking his house.
owning all the banks and they are
Right.
running everything. And this is the element of, so this is like a anti-Jewish gang, I guess.
Yeah, that just hang out at Paul Sorvino's bar all day.
Yeah, Paul Sorvino,
Who just sits behind the bar and doesn't really do anything.
He doesn't really do anything.
I don't even think he
But
has a
then
line.
Daniel Baldwin and Michael Madsen have huge long hair, and
good
neither
point.
of them have
Good point.
tattoos on their
It's just
necks.
a power trip.
It's an initiation.
Yeah, that's right.
And they make a lot of, as the newscaster says, anti-Judaism comments,
It's true. This
which
bank,
again plays back into the fact that there's no script.
the
for
bank
this.
has like Hasidic Jews in it, and so like they look like rabbis basically.
Yeah. And the strongest man on earth that's not Frank D'Angelo.
Oh,
Robert
Loggia,
Loggia.
which
Yeah.
you know what is going to be my favorite thing.
That's your favorite thing is Robert Loggia?
he is the
Who is Robert Loggia for people that don't know?
well, he was in Independence Day 1 and 2.
Oh, man. On the doors of death.
I
in
think
Independence.
I
in
don't
part
remember
2,
him in that.
He's always like talks like this. And
But what was
yells.
his character in Independence
He was
Day?
like some general or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
And then they
That-
brought him
that
back. He was
tells me
on
something.
death's door in the second one, so I think they filmed him against green screen, and then Rick Baker, Stan Winston puppeteered him. There's this.
Rick Baker's like, I may be retired, but I'm going to come back for one thing.
So
a
that was-
giant Robert Loggia puppet.
That could have shot though
No,
around
a
the
living
same
Robert
time.
Loggia puppet. They
This was
just, like,
2015. This was we know this was shot in 2014 because
Hmm.
there's calendars at the D'Angelo Beverage Empire
Right.
office.
But Robert Loggia, you don't see him moving or walking. He's just standing. He just happens to be a person in the bank, and then
Yes.
Propped him up. with
and they're
some
trying to
sticks.
like threaten him. I think Daniel Baldwin puts a gun to his head, and then Robert Loggia's like, "I've seen the devil, and you're nothing." And then he pulls off his blazer and shows them the like Auschwitz tattoo or something.
yeah,
he's-
that
Just
was-
like the
was
old
cool.
German guy in Monster Squad.
yeah.
And then Michael Madsen or Daniel Baldwin hit Robert Loggia across the face, and he's like, "You punch like
like
a
a
girl."
girl. And
They
then,
didn't really punch him. They like cut away.
It was very bad-
as
badly
they were
edited.
they were punching
But
it, and it was
No,
like
no,
they
it
cut
was
to black.
competent, guys.
I love Robert Loggia in this movie, and at the end, so there's a big sort of shootout, and you know,
a
Michael,
big shootout.
big
No.
shootout.
What
quote
happens
unquote.
is Michael Pare
Small
goes to an
shootout.
office. Frank D'Angelo heroically like jumps in front of the gun and takes a bullet. to the
takes a
shoulder.
bullet, and you do not realize he's shot for like 20 minutes because
He's so cool. He just moved beyond the pain.
not even breaking a sweat, not
No.
even.
He was
you know,
acting.
He undid one more button on his shirt just to show that chain.
Yeah.
He's like, you know how rich I am?
I'm rich.
And Frank gives a speech to Michael Pare that essentially boils down to, stop this bank robbery and I'll pay off all your debts.
Yeah, it's like I'll get you the best lawyer.
Yeah.
This will be just like a bad nightmare or bad
Yeah.
dream.
Does Michael Pare fight back at the end? I guess he does.
He does, but then he gets shot.
Really, like Frank D'Angelo films, they take place in a universe where there's only Frank stuff. Like when people turn on the radio, it will all be songs sung by
That's
Frank.
another thing, yeah.
And
He can't resist.
And characters will be like, this is a good song.
They always
Yeah.
working it in to compliment himself.
It's like, you know, like the genie wishes, which is like, what would you rather have? Everything tastes like poo? Or when you turn on any listening device, it only plays Frank D'Angelo movies and music. And Frank was like, oh, I'll take that second one.
the second one.
Well, he would because again, vanity project. So he
My
can just
God.
do everything.
Do you think anybody watches this movie and is like, Frank's a good guy?
Probably his friends.
Yeah,
You know, and I'm
yeah,
sure
probably.
of
Well, you know
which I'm
what?
sure he has a lot.
He's okay, but I have to go back to my favorite thing, the Robert Loggia thing.
Yes.
And at the end of the movie, Frankie wrenches the gun out of the.
Frankie. Only his friends call him Frankie.
Sorry, Mr. D'Angelo.
And his mom.
Yeah, there you go.
He rips the gun out of the cop's hand and shoots Daniel Baldwin and Michael Madsen, and then somebody says all the cops burst in and they're like, "Oh, they're injured.
You're a hero.
No, you get a stretcher." And then Robert Loggia goes, "You know, only for these guys." And then he looks at the bodies of Daniel Baldwin and Michael Madsen. He goes, "Get some garbage bags for these two pieces of shits."
It's like, who is this man?
It was like
He just happened to be in the band.
and he says it with such contempt. It's
Well,
amazing.
we're so like when he appears on screen, I get so excited that he's gonna like beat up the guys.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
I mean he's fairly old. That's not gonna happen.
Well,
in
when he
a
started
moment.
taking off his blazer, I was like, "Oh, he's gonna go fisticuffs."
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, we missed a very important subplot of the film, which is the fact that Michael Pare's mother, played by On the Doors of Death,
oh
Margaret
my
Kidder.
god, that
That's
was
right.
horrifying.
So
to see.
there's another set in this movie,
a
which
bingo
is the
hall.
bingo hall, and It's Margot Kidder and
Doris Roberts in her last film role, the mother from
Everybody Loves
Raymond.
Raymond.
Oh my
Everybody
God.
Loves Raymond.
Glassy-eyed.
And Grandma's Boy.
I have to say that
Grandma's boy.
she looked younger than Margot Kidder.
Yeah.
And it pains me to say this, but
And Margot Kidder's still alive?
she
No,
died.
she died.
Okay.
She died a few months ago, I think.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It was this year.
Oh, right. Yeah, maybe I did hear about that. But,
But,
You know what?
there's
At least Margaret, like, she showed up.
She's got some spunk.
Yeah, she does. She's got some attitude.
she's almost unrecognizable, unfortunately.
Listen, we all get old, April.
I know,
Yeah, I know.
Get
but she
old.
looked very. I know she's had a lot of mental issues and drug issues. and
But
stuff
yeah,
like that,
out of all the old biddies, she
There's a lot.
was the best.
she reminded me of like kind of Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
But not. She's
No,
less.
I get you.
More far gone than
She
Carrie
came from the
Fisher.
same era,
but she's
but-
got the same kind of spunk.
What was the other woman? Doris something?
Doris Roberts.
She had this ridiculous speech. What was it? Was it my son committed suicide?
My son died of a heroin overdose. You still have your son. You still have
committed
your
suicide.
son.
Was she acting like that, like in character, or is she actually like that? Like
don't
she
know.
seemed very spacey.
Well,
Yeah, she's out of it. Her eyeline is all over the place too.
Yeah.
Well, here's
Like-
what I'm guessing. She was probably on like some kind of heavy pain medication, but she was also like crying, but then it kind of looked like she was kind of laughing. But you know what? She was probably thinking about the check that she was going to be getting.
Frankie,
holding it off
sorry,
screen.
Mr. D'Angelo, Mr. D'Angelo off screen.
Opening the briefcase of money that
He's
she
like,
can,
where's
do
my
I
eye
look?"
line at this briefcase?
And I mean, we have other stars like Peter Coyote shows up
Yeah,
as the
it's-
commissioner, and Eric Roberts, of course, is in this. And as Colin pointed out, the lost member of SCTV.
Tony Rosato. I couldn't believe he was in this, and I was
Tony
watching
Rosato.
him.
Everybody remembers all the members of SCTV: John Candy, Martin Short,
Joe
Rick
Flaherty.
Moranis, Joe Flaherty, and Tony Rosato.
No, he was in. He came in later seasons.
So
with-
he wasn't at the SCTV reunion that they shot.
I don't think he was.
Maybe he was.
No, actually, my friend went, and I think he said he wasn't there.
Do you think he was like, I'm really busy, I don't have time to come?
I'm shooting a movie with Frankie
Frank
D'Angelo.
D'Angelo.
He's got all that Frank D'Angelo
Did you guys
money.
pick one other weekend than this one?
It was with he came in with Robin Duke. They were like the kind of two that came in at the very end of SCTV's run. But come on, Chick Monk,
Sorry.
Sorry.
We wanted to talk, but that
April,
hay
you-
bale or whatever was just blowing through.
That was the tumbleweed.
Tumbleweed,
Yeah,
yeah.
April, you're gonna have to edit crickets in there. Marcello
on it.
Sebastiano. Marcello. No?
I gotcha.
Oh well, whatever. Jesus Christ, guys.
I wasn't born when that was on the air.
I
Sorry,
only caught
Colin.
God
caught
damn it.
some reruns, and I definitely do not remember that person.
So, if you want to check out the Frank D'Angelo, No Deposit is the perfect place to start because it's like 79 minutes.
It's short.
And all the other films are like 2 to 2.5 hours.
Too much.
Wait, so are they all that length?
Yeah, like
other than
after,
this
like
one?
Sicilian Vampire's that long.
Yeah. That's the other
Red
one that
Maple
I've
Leaf
heard
is
of.
really long. The Neighborhood is that long. Supposedly he has 3 movies coming out
Neighborhood.
this
It's
year.
insane. He's done like 8 movies in 5 years.
It's I wish I had that kind of worth ethic.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Listen, maybe I need to go to my local Indigo bookstore and pick up his Being Frank autobiography,
Yeah.
which he did write and is available to local people living in Toronto.
Only.
It's kind of almost like a Tommy Wiseau situation where it's like, I want to make a movie. I have the money. I'm going to make a movie.
Yeah, but
you know?
he never made another movie, really.
Tommy
Who,
Wiseau,
Tommy was
yeah.
Best Friends?
He didn't direct it, though.
That's right.
Yeah, like
It's like
Frankie.
the idea is like Frank D'Angelo is living in a world where he can just continue to make these, and they always play at the Italian Film Festival in
Yeah,
Toronto.
yeah.
Maybe they'll open at Yonge and Dundas for a week or two, and then they'll just disappear.
Do you think that people, like local film goers in Toronto, are like tricked into seeing these movies?
No, I don't think anybody goes to them. Like
Nobody
I think
goes?
nobody goes. No.
No,
Just his friends
I'm-
and extended family?
I have a
It's
feeling.
like the
Well,
same
literally, like when IMDb used to have the comments section, you'd always see comments. And here's something that if you go to any of his movies on IMDb, and then they have the user reviews, stacked with 10 out of 10s, suspicious 10 out of 10s that all appeared on the same day. And they said, "I was at the premiere. This is the greatest movie I've ever seen." And I think what he does is he'll pay people,
Yeah,
or
of course.
it's all his family members and friends and employees probably that actually go to the.
I mean, the thing about movies like
screenings.
this is that like people don't have to go see them.
No.
Like they exist, and if he just wants to keep making them, more power to him.
It's
he can just
fine.
keep trucking. He made a movie called The Last Comic where he plays a stand-up comic that supposedly Robert De Niro came an inch from acting it.
Oh my
Well,
god,
that would have been
That would have been
something.
a coup.
And
Yeah.
then Robert De Niro like went online and he's like, what the fuck?
But these movies aren't making.
10 out of 10. I guess I will act
my
in this
God.
movie.
Are these movies not making any money? Do you
No,
think?
definitely not.
I
How would they
can't-
make
I
any
can't.
money?
We paid for it.
Yeah, you on iTunes.
Exactly. And okay, here's the rub. It's like $6.99 to rent on iTunes. I could rent like the Avengers Infinity Wars for $5.99 and I'm paying $6.99 for a fucking no
Because
deposit.
he's like, I gotta skim it off the top.
He's probably he's like the Beatles. He can like dictate the price on iTunes.
He's that powerful.
He's like, oh, I want to. My songs are
oh,
$1.29.
that's Frank D'Angelo's voice?
No, that's Paul
it's-
McCartney.
his Paul
Hello, Frank
McCartney.
D'Angelo.
He goes, I'm charging.
I want to know why Frank D'Angelo has a Brooklyn accent.
Does he?
Hey, he grew up in Toronto.
I'm not.
I'm walking in.
Yeah,
At least in the movies, you know.
Because he's a great actor.
of course.
But speaking of great actors, the star of the second film we watched, Emilio Estevez.
My God, Emilio.
Maximum Overdrive. What's Maximum Overdrive, April?
Well, it's this interesting movie about cars who come to life. That's
Say
That's
no
log
more.
line.
I'm
Yeah,
sold. Let's watch it.
That's the
Who
elevator
takes my
pitch.
money? Directed by Stephen King. It's his directorial debut and his last directorial effort.
I think he said all he needed to say with this
First in
movie.
Love?
Yeah.
Was that his first directorial debut?
Yeah.
Yes, it
First
was
and
the
last.
only one
And
he
his
ever
last.
did. Yeah.
He was notoriously blasted on cocaine through this entire production, and he says he doesn't remember much.
And he doesn't. He didn't know what he was
Didn't
doing.
know what he was
according to
doing.
him. It has an insane cast: Emilio Estevez, Yardley Smith, the Commissioner from the Tim Burton Batman movie.
Pat Hingle.
Pat Hingle, who is probably the most colorful character.
He's hilarious.
Speaking of crazy accents, I couldn't understand what he was saying for half of this movie.
Speaking of master of accents, Emilio Estevez, centerpiece of this film, as a short order cook who just
That is
got out of
definitely
jail.
a short order cook.
Okay, Colin, you love to make jokes about Emilio Estevez being short. Is that something that was like happening in the 80s? Because I'm not very familiar with these jokes.
I feel like there were more shorter movie
Yeah,
stars
than
in
Emilio
the
Estevez.
80s.
Well, it's like Tom Cruise,
Michael
you
J.
know, those
Fox?
guys.
Yeah, it was
Michael
very
J.
short.
Fox.
But
yeah.
he was always short. They never like raised Michael J. Fox.
But
up.
it's kind of comical in this movie because, you know, Emilio is probably like 3 inches shorter than the love interest.
Mm-hmm.
And you know he's standing on an apple box that's like 9 inches tall. So,
I mean, Emilio supposedly was coming off of the hits that he made, like The Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
And he was shooting with this. It's a giant cast of actors to the point that you're like, I don't know who any of these people are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you don't know what the plot of Maximum Overdrive is, it's that a meteor passes over Earth and that all, I guess, technology becomes sentient
it's
and
very
evil.
vague. It's like,
It's a little vague.
So watch out for those pop machines because
Yeah.
they will kill you.
ATM machines, sprinklers.
They're going to call you assholes.
yeah, so Stephen King gets a cameo. First of all, check out the trailer. Like the kind of teaser
The
trailer.
trailer's so good.
It is amazing.
I think it might be more famous for that trailer because Stephen King is in it.
Yeah, he looks right into the camera.
He's doing like a kind of Hitchcock thing where he would appear in the teasers and talk about the movie, blah, blah, blah.
And he's like standing in front of like the Green Goblin truck that's in this movie.
And he's being blasted with like, it's like bylighting. It's like the purple and the blue.
You probably hear like AC/DC who did the whole score of this film. Be like, back in black.
And he says
He is so cross-eyed from cocaine. Like his eyes are popping out of his head.
his big line is, "I'm gonna scare the hell out of you."
And he points at the camera and his eyes are going in completely different directions. It's amazing.
It's frightening. Maybe more frightening than anything in the
I
movie.
love the idea that Stephen King made this movie and he's like, this is terrifying. Because there is nothing scary about this movie.
I
No.
wonder though, like, I'm guessing that he kind of did he get carte blanche and
Yes,
was like,
guaranteed.
Absolutely.
make a movie out of any of your stories. Maybe they were like, choose a short story. Who knows?
This
but
was a film produced by Dino De Laurentiis.
Hey,
Dino's back on the
Hey, Thanks for having me back. I was here last week.
Why'd you give Stephen King a job?
Oh, he's a Stephen King.
You got me there, do you know? And so Stephen King, I guess he's trying to do a riff on Night of the Living Dead, where like a bunch of people get trapped in one location. Instead of zombies, it's trucks and vehicles in this one.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite part, Colin?
Well, first of all, there's actually a lot of good things about this movie, like on the technical side.
Okay.
So,
Colin's
no
favorite
Frank
thing is going to be,
D'Angelo.
it's competent.
It is in focus, and everyone, again, is in color.
Yeah, all right,
All
moving
right,
on. April, what's your favorite part now? All right, Colin.
Well, I'm going to say the very beginning of the movie, there's kind of like a raised bridge that goes up.
Yes.
And all the traffic is kind of caught on the bridge, and this is like one of the first scenes where we see, the machinery is going wild. And the kind of bridge, raises up while the cars are on it, and shit's flying off the cars, and
Watermelons.
Lots of watermelons.
And it's like the watermelons are shot as like grenades. They're like slow motion. And they make a
exploding
noise
through
like...
windows.
If you think about it, watermelons are pretty heavy.
Yeah.
So if one of that
you wouldn't want to
came
be
at,
hit by a
came
watermelon.
at you
Yeah.
at
And
a
if those
certain
watermelons
speed,
became sentient, watch out.
Oh my god.
Stephen King's like listening. He's like, I got an idea for my new book.
Hey,
perfect.
Maximum Overdrive 2.
It's me, Stephen King.
Stephen King! I'm gonna scare the hell out of you again.
they'll call it the pits.
Get me my blow.
Watermelon seeds or something like that.
April, I want you to co-write it with me. It's me, Stephen King.
The watermelon seeds go through you.
But this scene,
Yeah, it's like, you didn't even hit me. And then he takes like a glass of water and the thing goes out of his body.
it's just cocaine pouring out of the holes.
Yeah, exactly.
But this scene is fantastic. There's lots of amazing stunt work. There's great, like, people going through windshields of the cars, and
You
it
see
is
like a motorist being like, whoa!
and like, and it's like real glass. It's not that kind of crappy shit.
It's real glass.
Oh yeah,
It's not CG glass.
no,
Breaking.
Not sugar
Nothing
glass.
worse than CG glass. Only thing worse than CG glass is CG fire.
no CG blood.
CG blood. Ooh, yeah. that's
speaking
like
of
the
CG
Trinity.
blood,
I would say
there was CG blood.
Fire is
in-
less offensive than CG blood.
There was CG blood in the last movie. I forgot to mention that.
Which
Oh,
one?
Frank.
No deposit?
No, it was all practical. Yeah, it was all CG blood.
There was CG blood spots.
Yeah, Frank Deanna is like, yeah, I'll give you next 200 if I can actually shoot you.
Yeah. That was like them shooting it real time.
Then Michael Madsen's like, I am bankrupt.
Wait,
Okay.
I have a question. How is Michael Madsen like a bankable name? That like
isn't-
people, you're at Redbox and
He's
you're
not.
like, he is because he's obviously someone that like
He's recognizable.
Hey, remember that time he was in Reservoir Dogs?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the only movie I
That's
can
pretty
think
much
of.
it. From what I know about him, he is like
Drunk.
insane debt,
Yeah. Oh.
and is always drunk.
Yeah, like-
and like Quentin Tarantino just hires him.
I
Yeah.
love gambling.
Like
It's
other
me, Michael Madsen.
other Michael Madsen movies I know, Kill Bill and Blood Rain. I can't.
Blood Rain.
I
Blood
can't-
Rain Ruse,
the
completely
classic
drunk.
movie
thing.
bowl.
I
Yeah.
can't think of any
Christina
other
Loken.
Michael Madsen movie, but it's true. He is like
Look at his IMDb. He has 200 plus credits.
that's insane.
Oh, yeah.
So somebody's watching Michael
All
Madsen
films
movies.
like probably overseas or
Yeah.
or
It's like-
straight to video.
straight to video.
All international buyers are like, ooh, Michael Madsen, we can sell that. That's why like Frank packs these movies with those people.
Yeah.
Even though that like, no one's like, Robert Loggia. Ooh, yeah, let me sign on.
It's like one of those things I think where if it was only one of them, it would
Yeah.
be like, oh, who cares? But it's like,
But
holy
it's
shit, this
like
has
Voltron.
this
all
has
run
like
together.
this has like 30 has-beens.
Yeah. But they need to all be over 70.
Yeah, where they combine into one thing, and it's like,
I mean, we talked
true.
about like if Frank came up to you, Colin, it's like, I want you in my movie.
Yeah.
And I'll pay you in cash. How much would I have to pay you? I'll give you $5,000 for a day shoot.
Sure.
Dude, I would do it just to be like a fly on the wall on that
You
set.
play a pedophile named Colin Cunningham.
Ah, Jesus Christ.
He's like, as you're filming, he's like, I listen to your podcast.
No, wait, okay.
This is not a movie.
I'll say,
it's a
okay,
snuff film.
I'll do it if my character's name is Will Sloan.
Perfect. Signed.
And you're like Robert De Niro, you're like hanging out with Will, asking him questions, like recording it to get his voice down and
Yeah,
stuff like
that's
that
right.
and his mannerisms.
Just study.
You do it for free, April?
Yeah.
They're like, I want you to play like a shrewish woman who's like, get out of my house.
I actually would. I
women.
feel like I would have so much fun with that. I would actually love
Michael
that.
Paré's wife in this movie. Like, it's
Oh,
like
also,
that wake up scene where she has like 2 bottles of vodka.
Who's
next
the
to her.
guy that plays Michael Paré's brother who kicks him out?
Art Hindle.
yeah.
The shirtless guy. His, not that this is a big deal or anything, because it's like this in every bad movie, but his wife looks like his daughter.
Yeah, he does.
She's way
Hindle,
too young.
Art Hindle?
Art Hindle, yes.
Hindle looks, I thought it was Michael Paré's dad.
Yeah. No, me too. He looks much older.
Listen, Michael Paré takes very good care of himself.
He does, clearly.
April, what was your favorite part of Maximum Overdrive?
Oh yeah, let's get back to this.
Maximum Overdrive.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
I gotta say the music and
The all AC/DC soundtrack.
yeah, and I think that this is like I don't think I've seen a movie that has had an all like metal, if you can call it metal, like that type
Rockin',
of rock
that's what I call
soundtrack, all by the same band, and it's just like it's not just the hits. They wrote a few songs, but it's also like the incidental music. And the weird thing about the soundtrack is like it takes the tension down in this movie.
It does, yeah.
If you completely swapped off this soundtrack for something a little more traditional, a little
Bernard
more
Herrmann.
Exactly. So there's a scene where there's a little boy, a younger boy on a bike, and he's riding down the street and he's seeing all these dead bodies, but they're all kind of in these like comical situations.
Like someone was strangled by their hair dryer.
Yeah, there's a person who like their head is stuck in the car windshield. There's a dog with
a dog with a radio-controlled police car stuck in its mouth.
So maybe I kind of see why they were kind of going for the slightly more comedic tone, because when you play AC/DC during that, it's comedic, but
Yeah, it's
you
like rocking.
switch that to a symphonic score and it would have a completely different tone.
Yeah, and that girl being strangled by the cord on her hairdryer would be like horrific.
That could have happened to me.
Oh my god.
There,
She was burned.
Who made who?
Who made who?
I mean, this is a film with like not much going on. Like once the 70 characters end up at that like gas station, they just kind of hang out waiting for stuff to happen.
Pretty much all the movie, but the music does kind of give it this energy.
There's a drive to it, I guess.
drive.
The classic Nicholas Winding Refn film Drive. Or the Mark Dacascos Kung Fu film Drive. You can check both of those out.
Oh my god.
So my favorite part is the best part of this movie, which is the explosions.
They are fucking amazing.
There are so many explosions.
They spared no expense.
No,
Yeah.
it's like everything. Like if a car like goes off the road, it will explode.
It's immediately on fire before it goes off the road.
And then you cut to it a couple seconds later, and it just explodes.
yeah.
You know what's
Probably-
not cool? The Green Goblin car. Truck.
Yeah,
I
can we
beg to
talk
differ.
about that?
Oh,
Come on.
It's okay.
It's iconic.
I wish they had done something that wasn't like
It
something I recognize.
It has become iconic as like this is what you think of when you think of Maximum Overdrive.
But it doesn't do anything. Like if it ate a guy, that'd be awesome. Like
Well,
it like
It did
runs
smack
over-
into that one guy at the very end
Runs
of the
him
movie.
over.
There's some good like people being hit by cars
Yeah,
and
it needed
exploding
more.
like blood
It
bags.
needed more.
It definitely needed more.
It often kind of cut away a little too soon.
Especially with the children.
But this is
Yeah.
1987, right?
But the issue is that like this is a horror film, and horror films, because like some of the Friday the 13th has gotten by, and that had kind of stirred up controversy. The NPA, which is an insane organization that nobody knows how it works,
It's
and
insane.
gets to like define all this stuff.
Yeah, for
started to like
weird
like
reasons.
shut down on gore in
I
horror
get you.
movies.
But also, I feel like this is more of an action movie because of the
It's definitely not
explosions,
scary.
Well,
the
it's-
cars. It is a horror movie concept.
It's a pretty like slow, sluggish action.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's
Exactly.
action, but it's more of like
it's
a
yeah,
kinda-
it's horror with explosions, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
Pat Hingle, by the way.
Ooh, MVP, who has a armory in the bottom of his
got
gas
which
station.
Out of
Multiple
nowhere, just shows up with this
bazookas.
bazooka and starts
And he's
shooting
like,
missiles.
Yeah, fuck you.
You want to war?
I mean, the best actor in this is the woman that runs out and she's like, "Who made who?"
No, that's
No,
the AC/DC
very close.
song.
She says,
"We made you."
"We made you,"
And she's really like selling it. Like
she's really drunk.
Or the guy that like kicks open the door and is like, "What the fuck is going on?" before being riddled with bullets.
oh, it's
yeah,
amazing.
that was pretty funny.
There's
'cause
some there's some good squib work in
the cars.
Not on Pat Hingle. He just kind of like falls over,
Yeah.
bloody chested.
They just like painted some like blood spots.
I bet you
on
those
them.
other actors were actually like stunt performers or
Maybe
something like that.
Or locals who didn't know any better.
There were
Yeah.
good stunt men and women in this.
Yes, there are.
I mean, you have to for certain stuff like this, but I do kind of wish there was more. I don't know.
Suspense or fun stuff.
Creative stuff, except for just explosions.
Yeah.
The explosions were great, but like you said, we needed more people getting hit by cars in more gruesome and creative, different ways.
Because like it's
Yeah.
a movie that ends with just Emilio Estevez shooting the Green Goblin truck
It's
with
very
a rocket launcher.
anticlimactic.
And it's like, what? We've already seen this like 100 times.
Yeah, yeah.
And they react
Yeah.
like it's never happened before. They're like, yeah.
They start cheering and then
and
it
then
just
the
blows up.
AC/DC music starts playing.
Yeah, we're like, yeah, this is the greatest movie of all time.
And then they sail away on a boat, and then there's this terrible title screen that says, 2 days later, everything stopped.
No, it was like a UFO was blown up in space
by a
like,
Russian
a
satellite.
Russian satellite, which happened to be armed with lasers and nuclear
So
weapons.
it was a UFO and not the comet?
But then it also said the comet, and then the comet passed. So maybe like the UFO
and the survivors continue to
are
be
still
survivors.
are still survivors.
It was a very strange ending, and again, thinking about how it could have been more creative, I would think that Stephen King would come up with some more interesting stuff to put in this movie. So I think that it was mostly he was just too messed up on drugs.
Well, I think
or the studio was like, you can only do so much.
Stephen
money.
King, I feel like as a writer, is like very good at characters and kind of hanging out with them. When it comes to action and stuff like that, he's not good.
Yeah.
He's good with ideas, but like, there's that famous like Stephen King climaxes always suck. Like endings, like he can't pull them off.
Yeah, he has like memorable characters who often have quirks, but I didn't like any of the characters in this movie,
No.
especially Yardley Smith.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. Pat Hingle.
Yeah, I like Pat Hingle.
He was
He's
alright.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Lisa Simpson herself shows up
Yeah.
as, I guess she escaped No Deposit or something like
Nagging
that. As
wife.
a shrewish wife. Who's like, what's going on?
All she ever does is scream.
That's just her voice, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stephen
We're
King.
gonna get
I've
smushed.
always liked his short stories.
Yeah, me too.
I love his short stories.
I love it, especially his early short stories.
The only ones that I have like on my shelf are like
Night
his-
Shift, Skeleton Crew,
Yeah.
different seasons. There's other like
Nightmares
the
and
novellas.
Nightmares and Dreamscapes.
Nightmares and Dreamscape. Yeah, that's pushing it a little bit. There's a
yeah.
few good ones.
But yeah, I've read actually not a ton of Stephen King, but most of what I have read are the short stories because they're easily digestible, and there's a lot of good ideas.
He's a good
there.
idea man without being the rambly. I don't need this to be 1,000 pages.
yes,
I don't need
no
the
one edits him. And
the 10,000 page
And I think
Under the Dome.
because
or
he
whatever.
writes without an outline. He
Yeah.
said that himself. That's why his novels feel the way they do. Where you're like,
They can be a
where
little,
you going?
Yeah, they can be a little rambly. So
So Stephen King, come back to directing movies. I guess that's what we're telling you. Now that you've learned, you've aged, I think that you have a Maximum Overdrive. Can you imagine he comes
Well, he
back
said
with
he's-
Maximum Overdrive 2?
that would be amazing.
Yes.
He said he wanted to get back into directing
and do it sober.
Just do it sober. And
I think he likes writing too much. He's
Yeah.
actually talked about how he can't spend a day without writing, and movie making would take that away from him.
it's too hard. Like directing a movie is very difficult, and
Yeah.
you want to
Complex.
You want to be very passionate about it. You can't just
And
sort of
he,
do it willy nilly.
he even said that he just didn't know what he was doing. He wasn't, he had no experience in it. And while this is obviously not a terrible movie, it's good, but it has a lot of problems.
It's competent, but I think
it's a
like
little dull.
Story-wise, it's
Yeah.
a little slow.
It's a little boring,
Yeah,
to be
pretty boring.
honest.
It's a movie I really disliked last time I saw it, and this time I'm older, I'm softer on movies like this. I can enjoy stuff like the AC/DC soundtrack,
Sure.
and the explosions.
Yeah, explosions are fantastic. Just amazing.
So you just got a Blu-ray of this,
I did.
right, Justin?
Vestron Video, which is a company that's part of Lionsgate, released this on Blu-ray in an amazing special edition where they basically interviewed everyone involved with the film except for Estevez.
I was going to say Emilio
and
Estevez.
Stephen King. But everybody else, like special effects, even Yardley Smith gets interviewed on the disc. It has 2
Yeah.
commentary tracks.
That's great.
One of them was a Stephen King expert, and one of them was Ryan Turek and Jonah Ray, the MST3K guy, and they just
Oh.
talk about how much they love the film. They've done it
okay.
before for Chopping Mall.
All right.
So it's like a great package, has an amazing almost holographic cover.
Yeah, it's great. It's got
I would highly recommend it. And these are the packages that I really like because especially if it's a movie that doesn't quite work, to see people talk about it and have to kind of get a handle on it, that's always more fun than a classic.
Yeah, it's more interesting.
Exactly.
Also, No Deposit.
Buy it on iTunes.
No,
It's-
rent it on iTunes
it's-
for $6.99.
It's available to buy or rent off iTunes.
You can get it from Frank D'Angelo's official website, and it'll come with the soundtrack CD, which includes a cover of
Oh, yeah.
"Live and Let Die,"
Oh,
sung
no.
by Frank D'Angelo.
You know,
The end.
I don't need to own that.
No.
I don't want to have
It's
that.
like a haunted object.
I don't want to have that in my collection.
Maybe
yeah, to be like
not.
Annabelle or something. I'll go downstairs and put it in my basement in a glass case,
And
just,
Frank comes to life.
no, and just put like a sign just says "Do not open or touch."
Maybe not, but I really do feel like No Deposit is, I won't say an anomaly, but it's like a chapter in the booklet of all of these weird vanity projects, which are often make these bad movies so hilarious. I would 100% recommend seeing this any way that you
Yeah,
can.
absolutely.
But it's not on the level, say, of like The Room or any Neil Breen's work, where it's so bad you have to see this movie.
No, but
it's just a very accessible kind of
Yeah.
bad movie.
Like-
People you
yeah.
vaguely recognize.
yeah.
I've been hearing about this for years, and I can't believe it's taken me this long to watch it.
Yeah.
And I do get the sense that this is probably the best of his movies.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, that's kind of what everybody says. Although I would like to check out Sicilian Vampire at some point because it's Frank D'Angelo as a vampire. Come on, man. I think that sounds hilarious.
How will the greatest man on planet Earth deal with blood-sucking capabilities?
Oh, we're gonna talk about at the end where he's being led away on a stretcher,
right.
and there's a line of people, characters that you've seen in the movie, come up to him
tell
one
him
by
how amazing he
one
is.
by one, tell him how amazing
You're better
he
than
is.
all of us.
You're better than
You're
all.
so
I was
brave.
expecting like the stretcher to sprout like angel wings for him to
Yeah.
fly up to heaven as like the clouds.
Michael Pare only gets visited by Paul Sorvino and his mother's friend, who's like, "Your mother couldn't make it. She was
Margot
too
Kidder
scared."
couldn't even make it. And then we just had to like
Yeah.
you said that maybe
We got the actor who played the waitress in Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure.
it's like Margot Kidder had already like left,
Yeah, with Superman. What if I could read your mind?
but she just jumped off a building.
So sidebar off what we were just saying. Another very short recommendation I have to say is Neil Breen's Twisted Pair. We saw it recently in Toronto, and it is having not a wide release, a limited release right now in USA and Canada.
And Europe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was
So
an
that's the film
amazing
about,
movie.
like him spraining his groin, right? Twisted Pair.
Oh yeah, he twists. That's what I assumed, but apparently
That's
it's about him and his doppelganger, his evil twin.
Yes.
I'm sure many of you listening know about Neil Breen. If you don't, seek out Neil Breen's movies. They're all hilarious and they're amazing, and they are the ultimate vanity project.
And if you are, if it's playing in your town, you have to go see it if you have an opportunity to see it with an audience. Because
it's very fun to see in a theater with an audience.
It's amazing.
It
And
was. I don't even have any words.
it was
for
sold
how
out
good
when we
was.
saw it. It was a crazy crowd.
Yes.
Very more respectful, I think, than Pass Through.
Yeah, well,
Pass Through was the most miserable
Yeah, it
theatrical
was-
experience I've ever
I wouldn't
had.
say that, but
I hated it
it was
so
a little
much.
more
crew
rowdy.
got a little rowdy, but Twisted Pair was perfect. It was, like I said, sold out theater, so like everybody was sitting right next to you, and everybody was, keeping quieter with their
They
comments.
were all sitting next to you?
Yeah, every it was just like it was very lopsided. Everybody was like just piled up on the one
Everybody
side.
was sitting right next to me
It's
personally.
very
It was
weird.
like that Clive Barker story about the town that like formed together to make a giant person. That's a deep cut. I don't remember what that's called, but
It's
from the books of blood.
It's called The Town That Was Made Out of Many People. I'm Clive Barker.
But yeah, Neil Breen's
Thank you for
movies.
dropping by, Clive.
Neil Breen's movies are no longer on YouTube, as far as I know. We may need to buy like the DVD.
think we have to get them
We have to buy
all.
the DVD
We
box
get-
set.
They're going to be cursed objects in the glass cage.
No
with
way.
Frank
These are-
D'Angelo and Neil Breen.
No, this will counteract the curse because they're Neil Breen.
Yeah, because Neil Breen believes in killing all evil person in the
Yeah,
world.
he's like Thanos.
He is like that.
Yeah, he like snaps his fingers and he'll wipe out half the universe.
We're only the bad ones.
That being said, the new movie has a message of love, because just remember.
After he kills a building of people.
Yeah, but they were bad.
They're bad. It's like True Lies. Yeah, but they're all bad. They're all the bad guys.
Everybody, just remember, everyone deserves love.
That was it. Everyone deserves love, and everyone deserves to be loved.
That's right. So keep
wonderful.
that in your heart. All right, before we go, I'm just gonna read a quick email we got. We got one fan mail this week
Thank you.
from ML Kennedy, and the subject is, I think I have brain problems now.
Are you saying that, or is that the subject?
That's the subject. That's the subject of the email. So
Like a face when you said it too,
you
like you
did.
crossed your eyes. Stephen King style.
I was acting.
This is going to be the scariest thing you'll ever read.
Okay. So I pretty much listened to all of these podcasts in the past 7 days.
Oh my
It's
God.
super easy to listen to.
You're cursed.
I guess at that point we'd had like 8 episodes, so one a day. It's super easy to listen to, like a How Did This Get Made podcast, but where the hosts actually seem to know a lot about the movies they watch.
Thank you.
I've been enjoying Colin being an old man talking about Three's Company.
What's that show again, Colin? Please explain it to
Yeah,
us.
God damn
All
you
right,
people.
Justin describing what generation version of what everything is or aspires to be. And I see April as your leader.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Good.
I'm going to be bold and offer you Cowboy Killer as a movie suggestion.
Ooh, sounds good.
This
Like
is
that title.
this is a no-budget movie made in Virginia about 10 years ago, which I found quite charming in its goofiness. I looked up this movie. The trailer is hilarious. Tell me how I can see this. As far as I could tell, it's not available on Amazon, or I couldn't find it to buy or anything like that.
Ooh,
but
always a good sign.
It's like an early, it's like a mid-2000s like movie about, like, it's a really, really low-budget movie, but it looks very funny.
Is it anti-cowboy or is it a cowboy that kills?
I think it's a cowboy. I think the cowboy might be chasing the killer. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Anyway, that was from M.L. Kennedy, and he also was repping his Kindle book called Thanksgiving for Werewolves. So check that out. It's on Amazon.
Wait a minute. I saw that on Twitter.
Oh, well, maybe he
tweeted
tweeted at you.
Well, thank you very much for that letter. We will add it to the list because
Okay.
anything with cowboy and killer in the title.
Yeah, I
can't be
mean,
bad.
like I do. Obviously, I do research on how to find movies, but some of these movies are a little like hard to track down. I don't know. I'm not really up on all of these free streaming websites, and sometimes that's the only way to see these really obscure movies. If you can't like buy them off Amazon or rent them off iTunes, they're a little hard to see. So if you want to suggest movies, it's very helpful if you tell me how I can see them.
And also in Canada, especially, it's free.
Yeah.
we don't get the same movies that.
Before we can
the
watch
US
your movies, you must answer these questions. Breen.
No, we've got.
It's got to
free-
satisfy the can.
We've got legalized marijuana, but we can't get the same movies.
We have
that you guys
marijuana,
make.
but we can't see like
Amazon Prime
anything on Amazon
Yeah.
Prime.
Speaking of that, check out Teddy Bomb on Amazon Prime. Actually, anybody listening to this and is a big fan of April and Colin should check out Impossible Horror.
That's
Oh my
right.
God,
now
what's
released
that?
on Blu-ray.
That's your movie. That you
yeah,
just
it's a
we
film
just,
that I co-wrote and directed.
we just saw it the other night at a big movie theater.
Blu-ray release party.
And it's currently on Blu-ray. You can pick it up at impossiblehorror.com. It's got hours of fun. You can just hang out with us. April does a commentary track.
How many commentary tracks
6.
are there? 6.
Yeah, there's a great 35-minute making of.
Watched it last night. Loved
did?
it.
was
Yep,
good.
and everything is commentary, making ofs, all of it. It's $20. You can get it on, again, impossiblehorror.com. And if you put in the code, no bad movies, you'll get a slight discount.
Awesome.
what?
amazing.
I highly recommend this movie. I did a lot of post work on it, and I
Well,
appear
you
in
act
it.
in it as well.
Yes, I appear in it briefly as well.
Very
But
the
April plays a ghost.
so if even though it is November now, if you're in the mood for something slightly spooky,
Super spooky.
So yeah, check out Impossible Horror. Also, check out Teddy Bomb, which is also available, I believe, to rent on
You
Amazon
can just
Prime.
watch
in
it if
the
you have
States.
Amazon Prime. It's free.
Oh,
and
it's
if you
free,
watch
yeah.
it, it gives me money. So do it, please. Thank
amazing.
you.
Also a great.
Again,
It's a
Only in
great
the US and
Not
UK.
available in Canada.
unfortunately, but it's a great movie. And if you want to write into the podcast, you can email us at nosuchthingasabadmovie@gmail.com. If you want to tweet at me, I'm at April at Mansky. Also have Instagram.
I'm at Declou, J, DECLOUX, and then the letter J. And I'm also on Letterboxd, just Justin Declou, same spelling. If you want to watch all the crazy movies that I'm watching and keep track.
Now, I'm Sergeant Zima. It's SGTZIMA. That's my Twitter. And that's it.
Exciting.
Oh my God.
And that's it. So thanks for dropping by. And remember, there's no such thing as a bad movie.
Hey, Dino Dealer, I beg to disagree.
Look at the killer whale. This is a great movie.